say what is going on to the Shiba Inu holders and what is going on to the Shiba Inu army. Now, we're not going to spend too much time with the introduction because we have a lot to discuss, just like in the last video. So, what type of information are we going to be talking about today? Well, before we get into that, all I ask is that you share this video with your fellow Shiba Inu holders because, again, I feel like a lot of this information could help our fellow Shiba Inu holders. Because here's why: Google just decided to release a massive hint to all of us, except this hint comes at a surprise because not many would expect this. However, if we just go to the Google Trends homepage, then here's where we can start dissecting a lot of this information. So on the homepage, we have Taylor Swift, Kim Kardashian, the World Cup, and football, and this is related to American football. Now, why does this matter? Well, this is on the homepage of the Google Trends. And so over here, if we go lower, then we can see even more Google Trends, but that's not really what we're talking about. So in October, believe it or not, Shiba Inu was one of these lists, right? It was on the homepage to some extent, and now when we see Shiba Inu, if we type it into the Google homepage, then we actually see that it has kind of lost some of its trendiness. However, it is still up there. And that's why I want to talk about it, because it is about to have this same type of trend cycle that it had prior. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if we go all the way over here, we see that it did indeed have a peak at around October, the end of October. Now it is starting to come a little bit down. And I know it's not even at this level yet. It's just that Google has yet to analyze this data to this date, right? Because November 8th or November 9th, that's the day that it is right now, they still haven't really figured out that information. And this takes it from November 7th to November 13th. That's the day that it decides to analyze all this data. So we are not yet even at November 13th. So that's why it is taking some time. And that's ultimately what this means. I do not believe that the trend has decreased this much. I do believe, however, that is roaming around this 53 number metric. And so we're going to be talking about this metric right now. So prior to this, we were at 54 for the metric in the numeric value for what this was in the trendiness. However, if we go just a little bit more, we see that it did decrease all the way to 21, sometimes even 13. This was in 2021. This was around the summertime, right? End of May, then we go to June, then we go to July, even 6, right? Just 6 metrics, and then we go even more, 5 metrics, and then 7, and then we start to increase again. And this is when Elon Musk starts tweeting about Shiba Inu Coin, and then we decide to not only break this sort of trendiness resistance, which would be labeled through the 42 metric, but we actually decide to go even higher than that resistance, all the way to 100 for the metric. Now, I know that I just said resistance, and this is not a technical analysis chart, okay? Do not get me wrong. This is just simply how much Google has been analyzing this data. And so they saw and they detected that Shiba Inu had a lot of popularity amongst a lot of individuals at around the end of October. But now it seems like we are going back to the stage where it decides to decrease a little bit. Now, if it decides to have the same trend where it decreases, that usually means, based on historical charts, right, based on this historical pattern that is not related to the technical analysis, that it will start to consolidate for however long it might take. Some instances it takes just about 3 months, some instances it takes about a few weeks and a few days. How long will this new metric take? That is the important question. And so within these next few days, we're going to need to understand what Google is trying to tell us, because then we can start making our own predictions about how much longer it'll take for Shiba Inu to have that next leg up. Because Shiba Inu, it is not down from all-time highs too much. However, it is still down. I know that many people right now, they are worried because the price just keeps on going down, but you have to understand that this has been a historical pattern ever since the month of May. Now, if we go down just a little bit, we have individual regions and we have individual demographics based on the state. So demographic number 1, we have the state of California. Now, I'm not going to talk about this too much because I feel like this isn't really the relevant information that you guys need right now. Because next we're going to talk about even more companies and what others are saying about Shiba Inu, which are extremely, extremely important. And we're going to talk about even more Google trends. So it seems like the West Coast has a lot of involvement with this coin. Now, why does this matter? Well, this is because of the time zone differences. Again, Google is also pointing out that states like California, Nevada, Florida, Washington, and New Jersey is all the way at the East Coast, and this comes in ranked number 5. And this also makes sense, though, because New Jersey is a pretty large state, and so is California, though. So maybe this might not be fair to justify, but again, California, yes, while it is a large state, we also do see states like Nevada that do fall under the same demographic or under the same sector as to what side it is on. Now, here's where it gets important, because as many of us know, Shiba Inu is very volatile. It decides to fluctuate based on the time zone. We're going to be talking about the technical analysis in just a few seconds, see when Shiba Inu decides to go up in the coin price versus decreasing, because I feel like there is a parallel between what time Shiba Inu is trading at and how much or how low the coin decides to go. When it is 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the East Coast individuals, I believe it is about 6 p.m. for the West Coast individuals. So this time zone difference may be extremely significant. And then over here, very quickly, we have the related queries. We have Shiba Inu Coin, we have the Shiba Inu Coin price, and then again, we are talking about price yet again. And then we go a little bit more general, talking about cryptocurrency in general. And then also over here, we see that the topic is divided by cryptocurrency, Robinhood, Coinbase, prediction, and Bitcoin. Now, pay attention to Coinbase because now we're going to be talking about what Coinbase decided to do, and it is all related to what Google is hinting at us right now. Well, here it is because Coinbase's Shiba Gamble NFT plan fuel Wall Street optimism. Wall Street optimism is very, very important. If Wall Street is happy, the entire market will generally follow with that same sentiment, okay? Because Wall Street, they do have a lot of control. Many of them have a lot of hedge funds, and so they basically run the markets to some extent, right? And this extent is sometimes very significant. Now, we're going to be talking about that in just a few seconds. So, to chart Coinbase's global incorporation momentum this year, just look at its main retail mobile app. On October 29th, it became number one in the Google Play Store for the first time. Listen up, Shiba Inu family, because this is very, very important. On October 29th, it became number one in the Google Play Store for the first time. What was also happening at around the October time zone that we were just talking about? At the end of October, I specifically stated that from the Google trends that we just analyzed, Shiba Inu was also having a lot more momentum. Coinbase was not ranked number one in the Google Play Store when Bitcoin was deciding to rise extremely. You did not see this trend happen with Ethereum either when Ethereum was rising extremely high. So again, these are things that we need to start paying attention to. And again, if you haven't shared this video already with your fellow Shiba Inu holders, make sure you guys do so because this is the type of information that could really help the holders have more conviction because right now it is difficult for some people to continue to hold their coin because some are confused. Do I sell or do I keep on buying or do I just hold? And some are even getting influenced by others to sell their coin. And as we all know, if more people decide to sell their coin, then the price will continue to drop. Now, Coinbase, the largest United States cryptocurrency exchange and a lightning rod for regulators and critics alike, was more popular, in other words, than Instagram, PayPal, or Snapchat. As one of the earliest on the scene, it is now benefiting as crypto gains more adherents and it reaches new markets, and willingness to take risks is seen by many on Wall Street as setting the stage for future growth. This is very, very important, this line right over here. It's willingness to take risks. And how exactly is this doing this? Well, I'm not going to read this entire article, but I will mention right over here. Take Shiba Inu, for example. The meme token featuring a dog's face capitulated into the public consciousness and entered the top tier of cryptocurrencies by market value within months. Its provenance as a meme leaves Shiba without much of a fundamental reason to thrive. Yes, we know this. This also happened with AMC. Fundamentals usually isn't a reason for why a lot of these coins, a lot of these equities decide to increase exponentially. But again, regardless, we already know this. And so investors like it. Definitely 100% that is what I just mentioned. And Coinbase listed the token in September, even as rivals like Kraken have avoided doing so despite intense lobbying by day traders. And then very quickly, they also state that because Coinbase has been able to take such risks, they're mostly paying off. So these risks are paying off. And one specific analyst, his name is Chris, he stated, quote unquote, that they are in a good spot. Absolutely phenomenal. Now let's continue reading. I'm going to end off with this statement right over here. This statement says that the market also remains unpredictable, and if Shiba Inu is an indication, could be in a bubble, Brundler said. Coinbase has also warned that a drop in crypto prices could negatively impact revenue. This is very important. And in September, it raised $2 billion via senior notes for product development and potential acquisitions. For now, though, the good times roll. And this is also important when he says that the good times roll because the same individual also said that a lot of people have successfully been able to ride this wave. And this again comes from Brundler. Now, where do we stand in terms of the technical analysis? I know that I just talked a lot about fundamental catalysts. We talked about what Google was hinting at. And yes, in my opinion, I do believe that the Google trends, it is a major indication of what could possibly come in the future. Even though I'm not a financial advisor, let me know in the comment section what you guys think about Google's major hint. Or do you guys even think that this is a major hint or not? I'm going to try to go over this extremely quickly because your time is extremely valuable. So let's get on to it. Resistance number one, we did indeed break this. I've stated this many times throughout many of the videos, and congratulations to all Shiba Inu holders from this point onwards because this was a very difficult resistance to break. However, the Shiba Inu army did indeed break it, and we did not even go all the way back to the support level, which yes, it would now be considered a support level because we are in a slight downtrend. However, this downtrend, how much more will it go on? Well, we now know from this support level over here that we have another level of support, and this level of support is going to be labeled right over here. And because this is our second level, now that raises the question, well, what about the third level? Because this would still indicate that there is quite a little bit more downfall to go. Do we think that we're going to go all the way down there though? And so that leaves me with the next support level because right over here, this would be the next support level right around this zone over here. And right over here, we are starting to have a little bit of accumulation. And when I'm talking about accumulation, I'm specifically referring to the volume. It looks like the volume is slightly turning green on November 9th of 2021, which is actually going to be positive for a lot of Shiba Inu holders. Now, it also looks like Shiba Inu is starting to consolidate. So with that accumulation also comes consolidation, which would be absolutely perfect for the Shiba Inu holders. Now, with that being said, I also think that Shiba Inu, in terms of resistance, which is also very important because that means that Shiba Inu would go to the upside, I think that Shiba Inu needs to break this level. And so I'm going to label this in a different color, but first we need to identify that level. So that level is going to be right around here. So I'm going to label this in a different color. So if we go right over here, Shiba Inu must break this level. and we're going to label this, let's say, in red. We could label this in red. Perfect. Shiba Inu needs to break this level for it to start going and reversing to the upside. Now, with that being said, Shiba Inu family, let me know in the comment section if you have any questions, and thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.